everybody, this is Brian back with Inspiring How You See That, and today is a very special day. I have a couple friends of mine from the amazing band Adelaide. And so I've got Laura Respondek, she's the lead singer, and I have Jake Bond, who's the lead guitarist and also does some vocals. So thank you both for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Glad to be here.
Absolutely. And we're here in Port Allegheny, PA today because actually you guys performed at the Breaking the Chains Festival both yesterday and today. So how did that go for you?
It was fun. I think Friday was a little rough, wasn't it? It's been a long time since we've played.
Yeah, we were talking earlier, and we're one of the few bands / artists that probably got to perform in 2020. So
It's true.
Yeah, huge blessing for us to get to play out live.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we were here last year, so we had met some friends and obviously met you.
Sure, absolutely.
Last year, so
which was awesome.
Yeah, but it's been great this year. They had a great turnout despite the weather and the COVID stuff.
Everything going on. And that leads me to my next question. So I know you guys were touring really a ton of tour dates from like 2016 through last year. So this year, have you kind of scaled back? Was that due to COVID or just was that planned?
Go for it.
This was definitely planned. We had decided as a band we had no intention on playing really any shows this year, but it kind of worked out in the schedule to do this event acoustic. As you'll see, Eric and Garrett are not with us at this trip, but so we just did an acoustic at this one. But
Nice.
Well, since he's moved to North Carolina, which you lived there last year about this time, didn't you?
yeah.
But yeah, the touring thing, it's just different. And I'm working on a solo project, and Jake has been writing and producing and working. It's a little different.
Sure.
So
Yeah, because you guys are in Missouri.
Right.
And you're now in North Carolina. So
Right, yeah.
how has that dynamic changed as far as you're not there close? So when you're working on an album and recording, how does that change?
So it's a different spin this time because I'm working on a solo project and Jake is my producer. So it's kind of like being in a band, sort of, because he's doing what he's always done. He's producing the music, and the whole last record he produced all of the, strings and guitars. And my first album, that's how I met Jake.
Sure.
He laid down all the guitar tracks for the first album. So we're still working together quite a bit, trying to get my album finished. And
Yeah, we're in kind of the final stages of the album. It's being mixed right now by Jack Daniels from the band War of Ages. So
what a
From
name!
Erie,
yeah. So we really got to know Jack he did a little bit of work with us on the last record, and it was a good fit for this project. So yeah, we're excited about it.
Excellent.
Yep.
Excellent. Now, you said that you're doing a solo project. Are you also working on music for Adelaide, or is that kind of taking your focus this year?
It is the shift of Adelaide.
Okay.
So the first album actually was a solo project where I met the band.
Okay.
And so the first album, it was basically, I met Jake at the studio, and he's like, when we were coming to the end of mixing and mastering and everything, he's like, a lot of people do these album release parties, and that way they can push the album and get discs sold. He's like, if you guys want to do something like that, I have some friends, I have a band basically I could throw together and work on a show. And so that's what we did. I was like, that'd be great. So we started practicing and started buying merch. I didn't even think about buying merch until I was like, oh, we're going to have a show. I have to have something, But we did ticket sales. Proceeds from ticket sales went to Heart for Africa, and then free CD at the door with your ticket stub.
Oh, nice.
So that's how the first album went. About 450 people showed up. So when we were all leaving, the guys were like, and at the time Lydia, one of my keyboardists, they were like, we're Adelaide now. This was so much fun. Let's do it again. So actually, right when he was walking out the door, he goes, there's this thing called a writer that you want to have and have some things in writing. So when you go do shows, and he started giving me all these pointers, like, you have to have this, contracts. And so he was like, this is a done deal.
Nice.
So we were basically a band from the moment we had the album release party till now. So
Excellent. Now, you guys have had a number of hits. Probably the biggest is Strong and Brave, which was off of your second album.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come about? And I know you had a lot of success when Christian radio, you're on your own as far as a label, correct?
right, we're
So,
independent.
so how did that come about to be that successful?
It was actually Deep Waters was our most successful song.
Okay.
It was number 2 in Christian rock last year, and was it into this year? I don't remember. Sidebar.
Our manager's on the side.
No, but yeah, Deep Waters was number 2 last year.
Nice.
So, Strong and Brave, I think, got up to number 7.
Okay.
10.
Oh, sorry, number 10. Was it Reminiscing got up to 7?
Reminiscing got to 7, and then Restore Me number 4.
Excellent. So that's all just on your own. You guys were able to accomplish that. That's impressive.
Yeah, and I'll speak for Les real quick. There's probably no harder working manager when it comes to pushing our music and also booking shows and stuff. He's the guy. No, so we've been really thankful to have him working. I mean, no harder worker in the business at this stuff. So.
And I can plug Les. He's a great guy. He doesn't want to be on camera, but he's a great guy.
He doesn't mind being on camera.
So, and you actually, for the new project that's coming out, you have a new song, My Miracle, which you actually brought J.J. Weeks on to sing with you. It's a beautiful song, and I know that it's based on a true story. Can you kind of go into that a little bit?
I haven't talked about that in so long. It's like, but that one actually, believe it or not, was supposed to be released before Christmas. So we started talking about, I need to release a song before Christmas, something that has that tone, because we have some friends locally that have this podcast. It's a Christmas podcast that they feature all year round, and it's called Christmas Clatter. And so he touched base. He's like, hey, if you have a Christmas song, and this was like in June or something. He's like, then just send it my way and I'll play it, whenever you're ready. I was like, well, I have a song that could potentially be used as a Christmas song. And so I talked to Jake, and then we're like, he's like, well, I guess we can get the ball rolling on this. And so that's when the collaboration started, and it was just such a drawn out process. So it didn't end up being a Christmas release, but it worked out great. It was released around Easter. So, but it was based on the story of Marshall Pullen, which the song was sang at my album release party back in 2015.
Okay.
So for the bigger picture, but it was only sang during the Heart for Africa. We played a video and stuff, informational video on how people could become sponsors and stuff like that, and sang the song during this video. And that's the only time anybody had ever heard it. And I never had it in audio copy of it or anything. So, but we have a local boy in our community, Marshall Pullen, who at the age of 3 years old was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And it was a rare brain tumor, and when it was removed, ever since then he's had a lot of physical issues. And so when you follow his Facebook page, Pulling for Marshall, there's a lot of updates, and you can kind of see where their journey's been, and it's just heart-wrenching even still to see that they're still making trips up to St. Louis Children's Hospital, and it's just like he'll have seizures, and he'll have a bad, like if he gets stung by a bee, it's like he gets a really bad infection and he swells really bad, and it's like it's changed their life, and there's changed their whole family dynamic. So the story of the song is saying, we haven't seen a miracle for Marshall in this way because we've been praying for Marshall for so long, but yet the miracle sometimes it's just in life itself.
Mm-hmm.
God doesn't always heal, and we don't know why, but he's still good. That doesn't say he's not still good. So that was kind of the message we wanted to bring to the world. It's like, look at all the negative things. Why did this happen, God? If you're so good, why did this happen? Why did so-and-so have to die in a car accident? Or why does my mom have cancer? All of these questions that we can't answer. Mm-hmm. But God ultimately has those answers, and we have to just trust him and be faithful and say, I still believe in miracles. Don't stop believing just because you haven't seen a miracle in my life or in my story, because they're all around us. So that's what the story's about.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great message, especially with everything going on in the world now. There's a lot of division, a lot of things, and you've spoken on this a couple times when you played. And I think that's a great reminder that, God is in control, and no matter what's going on, if we love him, it's for our good. Right. So appreciate that song and everything that means to everyone.
Thank you.
So moving forward, you said that the project is pretty much done now, the solo project.
Right.
So do you have a time frame of when maybe singles will be coming out, or?
Not ironed out.
We've discovered that
time
after
frames.
many years, it's always best to get everthing completely done, and
then talk about
you can kind of make some plans and ideas, but making albums, it never goes as fast as what you want it to. You know,
Yeah.
there's always some kind of hurdle to go through, but
Like my miracle, you know, Christmas, Easter.
yeah.
Excellent. And if you could talk about what Christ has meant to you guys as far as not just a band, but doors that he's opened that you can reach people with his love through your music and through your performances.
Yeah, it's been awesome what Christ has done through this ministry, and that we are very blessed that God has opened our eyes to the gospel and saved us from our sin. And for one, it's just amazing the message that we have to carry, and it's the greatest message of all time, in that, you know, Christ died for sinners, and we get to go and tell people all over the country that. We've had so many awesome instances of crazy stories of how God has worked through this. One of our favorite places to play is in Illinois, and it is called Second Story Ministry. And that place started, the man who started it, his son's graduating class, like 10% of their class committed suicide.
Oh.
And so he started just a safe environment for kids to go after school and stuff, and they provide them with food and just the love of Christ there. And we've gotten to go play there, and every kid you talk to at this venue, they're all affected by suicide at this place. They call it like the suicide capital of Illinois. And every single kid you go there and you talk with stories, they have a cousin or an uncle that, you know, committed suicide. And we've played there 3 or 4 times, and there's always, every single kid is affected by it.
Sure.
And so for one, it's just been awesome because every single person you talk to, you get to share the good news of Christ. And I think that has been for sure one of our greatest memories on the road. And
it's
how
a
God
blessing
is,
to be able to share the gospel there, because it's not a church or anything, and it's not affiliated with any church. They're Christians, and they offer, you know, they talk about the gospel and stuff, but they share, but they don't push anything on the kids, and they don't have, you know, like, so for us to take the stage there, it's really, you know, it's powerful to have, you know, that moment with the kids to be able to share, you know, because at first they're like, oh, this is cool, this is a band, and kids don't realize it, but the Adelaide's bands and you know, speakers and stuff like this, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I have your attention, and then redirect that attention to
Sure,
God.
like he gave you that platform to be able to serve him with.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys had mentioned, and we had talked about that, you were at the festival today, the Break the Chains Festival, and this is the 2nd year in a row you've played. So how did you guys find out about this festival and come all the way up from Missouri to Pennsylvania to do it?
Shoot.
Internet.
That's a less question.
that is definitely a manager question. Like I mentioned earlier, we have the hardest worker in the business.
So as far as, you know, this year again, with everything going on, there's not a lot of touring going on. Are you guys planning on coming back to tour next year, or in a couple years? Do you have that set up yet, or?
No. It's really in the air for me, as far as we've talked about doing a few youth conferences that we've done in the past, and because we have that relationship with them, and sticking to that, we love youth and ministering and worship, and which is most of what we do with these worship conferences, these youth conferences, is worship. So we don't do a lot of original stuff, but other than that, it's kind of like the coin toss, and you're like, okay, God, how's this gonna land? So of course, new records and music, who knows?
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think we've all really enjoyed this time off for sure, because as you mentioned earlier, I mean, we've been doing this touring pretty hard since 2016, really, and this is the first time we've just like taken a nice break. I know Garrett is finishing up; he's doing an accelerated PhD program. You've got Eric working on his degree still, and you know, he's working, and so it's been, I know for myself, producing and being at home, it's been nice.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I think we're just kind of enjoying it. I know for Les and Laura, they've got to enjoy lots of time with the kids, and you know,
Sure.
having all the the 4 little ones with us on the road. I'm sure it's been very refreshing for them just to spend some, summertime at home.
And when we first started, or when we first stopped touring, the kids would always ask, because we'd be like, pack some clothes, we're going to go somewhere overnight or whatever, whether it was for my husband's work or, family vacation even. It's like, the first question is this an Adelaide trip? Or, like, basically, 2 of my kids would be like, is this an Adelaide trip? And the other 2 would be like, is this an Adelaide trip? So it's like, it took a while to kind of rewire that when we're going out of town, it's not always for that. But it's been nice to take vacations because we've never, as a family, we haven't really done that or been able to do that since the kids have been old enough to enjoy it. Because it's been crazy. Like, Ryder was, like, little bitty when we started.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird to think of that. But.
Sure. And Jake, you had mentioned a couple times, as far as you're working with other bands, and you had mentioned War of Ages from my hometown of Erie. What are some of the other bands that you're working with? And just kind of give us a little bit of what's going on in that part of your life.
Yeah, so I have really started pursuing music producing and songwriting and stuff. So I've been doing a lot with Laura here, and I've got some pretty cool stuff in the works with a guy named Brian Dalton. He's got some cool kind of cinematic music coming out. And there's another girl, Michaela Ree from Ohio. I've been working with her, so some cool stuff. Yeah, so it's been fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, and so is there anything else that you guys want to talk to fans about? Let them know about you, and here's an opportunity to let it fly.
I sound so indecisive as what the future holds, but AdelaideMusic.com is probably the best way to keep in touch with me, and that will link you to Facebook and Instagram. I have Twitter, but I never get on there. Sorry. It's a little polluted right now. I like to
We're
stay
the
away
same way.
from it.
We have a Twitter and we never use it.
Yeah, I check it every once in a while. I feel really bad because I'll have messages and I don't even know how to answer them. I don't know how to check them. But yeah, so Hey Adelaide on Instagram and Facebook. So.
Okay. And of course, you can see their videos on YouTube. And
yeah.
So, and how about you, Jake? People keep up with you. What's the best way?
Well, I've got a website in development right now, but that's going to be a little bit. Right now, it's just at Jake Bond Music on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, and everybody, again, we'll put all the links to follow them, find out all more information down in the description. So don't worry about trying to write it down real fast. It'll be there. But I want to thank both of you. This has been amazing. It's been something I've been looking forward to for a long time. So I love these guys. Adelaide is fantastic. If you haven't checked them out, you owe it to yourself to do it. They're absolutely phenomenal, amazing people, so you'll love them. So if you like this video, let us know. Leave us a comment. Subscribe to us so you can follow everything that Kevin and I are doing. And as always, we love it so much when you guys stop by with us. We love you. God bless, and rock on.